Hi guys, in today's video we're going to talk about Z custom and Z series ride cymbals. So I have two examples here, this one being the original Z series heavy power ride and this one being the successor to that, the Z custom power ride. Now this one down here was made sometime in the 80s. It doesn't have a serial number, so I don't know exactly when, but or I guess it could have been the early 90s, sometime between 86 and 94. This one I know was made in 2005 because the serial on the laser engraved logo that I'm sure you cannot see right here tells me that information. So if you just look at them, visually they are similar yet not exactly the same. The 80s series original Z has hexagonal hammering marks there, and the sort of 90s 2000s era Z customs have round hammering marks, but they're both in a sort of spiral spoke pattern. This one has 28 spokes of hammer marks and this one has 24, and the spiraling on the Z customs kind of goes at a sharper angle, whereas it's pretty subdued. It's almost straight but not quite on the original Z series. So as far as I can tell, this cymbal is intended to be a direct successor to this cymbal because it is actually heavier, and this is the heavy power ride. So of course its brother, the light power ride, would have been a little lighter, and thus this is more similar to the heavier version. So in exact terms, and by exact I mean approximate terms, this one is around almost 3,700, this one's almost 3,700 grams. This one's more like 3,570-ish. My scale isn't super exact, but we're talking like 100, 120 gram difference, this one being heavier than this one. So I'm going to play these. I'll do it with the full kit and without, so you can hear it in the context of like thrash, punk, sort of death metal type beats. Nothing crazy, but I hate when videos do like jazz ride pattern with a tiny stick on cymbals obviously intended for hard rock and heavy metal. So here we have the heavy power, and here is the Z custom power. I'll play them a little bit and you can hear them in context with the drum kit. Quick note, if you're interested in thrash drumming but maybe not an expert at it yet, I have a new book coming out soon about thrash drumming, so stay tuned for details on that. Back to the video. So I'm going to do a quick history or fact session about the Z line because it's not always obvious where these things came from. The original Z series was from 1986 to 1994. No serials, so it's really hard to know in there what cymbal you have. They made two types of rides, heavy and light power, and they made a hi-hat, which I have here, and it had a hex hammered top and a star hammered bottom to sort of match the two ride cymbals. And other than that, I don't know if they made any other cymbals. Z Custom ran from 1994 to 2009, so 15-year run, almost twice as long. and it had crashes, it had chinas, it had several rides. I think there's a rock ride, a power ride, and a thrash ride. And then, of course, that was taken over by Z3 in 2009, and those cymbals ran until 2013, and then they were completely discontinued. There's no Z line now. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the ZBT, which is very beginner, the ZBT Plus, which was a short-lived, slightly above beginner, low intermediate. ZHT, which I think replaced ZBT Plus, also kind of intermediate to beginner, and then now they think they're on ZXT, which is, I think, also intermediate and not very good. And I think they've run ZBT the whole time, or at least for a long time. And of course, they're the bottom of the barrel. And then, of course, there's Planet Z, which we don't even talk about Planet Z. None of those would I consider to be Z series cymbals. Only original, custom, and 3 are the real performance-ready recording Z cymbals. So if you have questions about the Z lines, let me know, but that's basically what I know. So one other thing, when you're talking Z series rides, obviously there's the heavy and light power in the 80s and early 90s, and then there's the regular power in the 90s and early 2000s, but there's no power ride in the Z3. Similarly, the Z Custom has a thrash ride, and the Z3 has a thrash ride, but the original line didn't have a thrash ride. So there's no ride line name that comes all the way through all 3 Z series to compare directly. So I think these two are pretty similar, and then obviously the thrash rides are probably pretty similar, but other than that, there's nothing that goes all the way through every series. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully that was interesting. I got rid of my Earth ride, or I would have done all 3 in the same video, but I don't have that anymore. And so anyway, if you have questions about metal rides, let me know. But basically, thanks for watching, and take it easy.